I'm pretty sure every gamer knows that Sonic Adventure was originally a Sega Dreamcast title, Sega's last console before they became a third-party company making games for other consoles. When that happened, they started making ports of their Dreamcast game, including this one I'm reviewing right now, and thus Sonic Adventure DX became exclusive on the Nintendo Gamecube and other releases in Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Now for the story of the game, I'm going to talk about Sonic's story since his story is the main part of the game, while the other characters are a side extension of his story despite having different objectives. But pretty much Sonic discovered this alien-like thing called Chaos, and when Sonic defeats it in the first battle of the game, he discovered that it was summoned by Dr. Eggman, aka Dr. Robotnik. Dr. Eggman's plan is to collect all the 7 Chaos Emerald to power up Chaos. For each Chaos Emerald the monster receives, a different form he will take, and it's up to Sonic and Tails to stop Chaos from getting his final form. The story in this game is pretty basic. It's your basic collect all the emeralds, stop the bad guy, and defeat the monster. Although this is probably the first time this happened in a Sonic game, became a, I wouldn't say a staple, but a repeated storyline ever since. Now, as for the gameplay, I'm going to talk about from my least favorite to the most favorite gameplay since each character has different abilities. First is Big the Cat. Now, Big the Cat is pretty much Sega bass fishing, and that's pretty much it. You just fish for his friend Froggy, which is in the pool every time. You don't even have to travel for, and that's pretty much it. Now, gameplay speaking, how it works technically, it works pretty fine. I really have no issue with trying to catch Froggy. Well, maybe a few hiccups here and there, but for the most part, it works pretty fine. But it is the most boring part of the game. Before I move on to the next character, I did something that most reviewers haven't done, or at least what I haven't seen, and pretty much explore the stages in the Big the Cat area. Now, most people don't do this because Froggy is always at the beginning of the level, and people just want to get this done, which I don't blame them. But I decided to give it a try, and I found some stuff a bit interesting. Now, granted, this is most likely due because the developers just took some part of the stage, like, for example, this is part of the Sonic stage technically, but it kind of makes you wonder why would the developer add a place like this in the stage? I mean, even if it is taken from Sonic level, I can't picture a reason why Sonic would be going down here since most likely people would stay away from the water. And this is just crazy speculation on my part, but maybe the Big the Cat stages was meant for another character. Though, again, that's just crazy speculation, you know. But for the most part, other than that, you also find some power ups for Big the Cat's fishing rod to catch fish better, which is not necessary since they're easy to catch to begin with. But for the most part, the gameplay is pretty dull, but it works most of the time. Next, we have Amy Rose. Now, Amy Rose's main objective is to escape from this robot that's chasing after her while destroying enemies in front of her, well, small enemies. Her main attack is using her hammer. One of them is pretty much staying still and hitting the B button to attack, which has a slight delay. Next is her jump hammer attack, which is pretty much the most preferred way to attack enemies, even the small ones. and she also can get a power up for a better hammer attack, which I prefer using as well. Now, the main problem with Amy Rose is not really her attacks or her gameplay, it's really her running speed. Now, it doesn't really make more sense for Amy Rose to be the source character in the game, ex- especially when her main objective is running away. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't expect her to be as fast as Sonic or Tails, but if Big the Cat is faster than her, that really makes no sense because Big the Cat, all he does is just fish, while Amy Rose is pretty much just trying to avoid this robot. Now, granted, he can also attack it, but he can't really destroy it until, well, the final stage, of course. But it really makes no sense why the developers did that. I mean, I'm assuming to make it more challenging, but it's easy to escape from the robot. I mean, it's not really impossible to run away from it. That's not what I'm trying to get at, but having Amy voice just sort of makes it more annoying, not more challenging. Now, even though Amy is technically the second worst character in this game, her gameplay is not really not that bad. Mostly because she only has 3 levels, not counting the mini games that's in there. And technically speaking, compared to all the other games that Amy was playable in, this is pretty much the second best gameplay. The first being her and Sonic Heroes. Next we have E102 Gamma. Now Gamma's gameplay is very, very simple. All you just do is point and shoot. You can target multiple enemies, and the more enemies you destroy at once, the more seconds you get on your time limit. That's the one thing that difference E102 Gamma from everybody else. Now, as every other character time limit goes up, Gamma's the only one whose time limit goes down, and you increase your time limit by destroying a lot of enemies, especially with combos. Now, if your timer runs out, which to be fair already happens, Gamma battery will die and you need to restart the stage from the last checkpoint. Now, thanks for Gamma having few stages, this gameplay doesn't come too repetitive. I think you spend enough time where you can have fun with the game, but not feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again. Next we have Tails. His gameplay consists of running fast, but not as fast as Sonic, of course, using his tail as an attack, and being able to fly temporarily. Now, Tails' gameplay, where the stages mostly consist of beating Sonic or another character to the finish. Now, there's also some other stages that Tails does, like the airplane mini game. But the biggest problem with Tails is that, well, his gameplay, his stages are pretty much the same as Sonic stages. So you have a slightly different objective, but it it's kind of lazy on the developer part for we're not adding anything new except for these ring boosters that gives Tail an advantage of winning the race. Not to say that Tails doesn't have a few unique stages of his own. He does, but again, just a few, and near the end of the game. But despite that negativity, playing as Tails the Fox is pretty fun. The only thing I probably recommend is maybe wait to play his story. Uh, Not right after you play Sonic's story. Maybe play a couple of the other characters first, assuming that you don't want to get too repetitive. But anyways, Tails the Fox, pretty good. Now we're on to the second best character of the game, Knuckles the Echidna. Now, unlike the rest of the characters, which is running to the goal, well, with the exception of Big the Cat, Neko is pretty much an exploration platform. Well, emphasis more on the exploring part than the platforming part. But pretty much Knuckles' mission is to find 3 pieces of the Master Emerald to finish a stage. Knuckles is able to find each pieces of the Master Emerald by using the radar on the bottom of the screen. Pretty much blue means that he's cold, green means that he's in the right area, and red means that he's right near it. The one very interesting thing about Knuckles' gameplay is pretty much with each playthrough, the pieces of the Master Emerald are located in different areas every time, which make this game, well, at least Knuckles' gameplay, very less repetitive. Now, the only negative I have with Knuckles' gameplay is the camera. Now, granted, there's slight camera issues with each character, but Knuckles' gameplay to me, it this is where the camera gets really annoying. But only when you try to look around and try to examine the areas. If it's just flying around, then the camera won't cause you that much problem. But when you try to climb up walls, sometimes you won't be able to see what's coming down. But for the most part, Knuckles gameplay is one of my favorite parts of Sonic Adventure. Now, last and definitely not least, we have Sonic the Hedgehog himself. Now, since being the first true 3D Sonic game, Sonic can still have his trademark moves like running fast and doing his spin dash, but introducing for the first time, Sonic can do a homing attack on enemies. This move became a trademark ability in every 3D Sonic game, and even some of the 2D ones as well. Sonic can also get some other abilities like Speed Dash, another move that was first introduced in this game and became a trademark move in the Sonic series. Now, in my opinion, Sonic's gameplay is definitely the best compared to the other characters, but I still have some slight issue with it. Now, keep in mind this is one of the first 3D Sonic games, though technically not an early 3D video game compared to like Super Mario 64, but still this game hasn't aged too well. Sometimes, I mean, you try to make Sonic turn, Sonic can sometimes turn too sharp, even when you slightly move the analog stick. And as I mentioned before, camera can sometimes be an issue, but if you just use the shoulder buttons, then you shouldn't have any problem with that. But for the most part, Sonic plays really well. Overall, Sonic Adventure is a solid game. Now, even though this game hasn't aged well due to the camera and controls, this is still a game that every Sonic fan should add to their collection. As I mentioned before, I played the Gamecube version. There's also one for PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, and of course there's the original Dreamcast version. But either way, give this game a try. I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. Now tune in next time when I review a Sonic game back in the Sonic Gem collection, and probably one of the games that people bought this game for. This is me, Bobbert 33, and I catch you later next time.